Okay, the next book that I'm going to talk about is Water for Elephants. I almost forgot the title. Okay, so this is about a boy, well, a teenager. He's orphaned, penniless. He doesn't really have a family or anywhere to go, and ends up leaving school. So first he was in there to become a veterinarian. Jumps on a train, doesn't know what he's doing, and ends up finding out that the train that he's on is a traveling circus. So he becomes part of this traveling circus and gets a job as an animal caretaker and kind of builds this loving relationship with one of the elephants. And through it, it's a very dark and beautiful book in the sense that the circus, it isn't this happy, clown-filled place. It's very almost falling apart. And so you see the struggles that he's trying to overcome. It flips between two stories of his life. So it shows the younger, adventurous side of him and flips to him being old and in a nursing home and kind of reflecting on where he's been in life. So there are two narratives, sometimes hard to follow along with, but very interesting. Totally about character development, really focuses on the idea of wanting to belong in a place and in an environment. There is a woman that he meets within the circus, and she is married to another caretaker who's like this really abusive, cruel, angry man. And so there's this interesting love triangle that happens. The woman character is kind of flat, so don't think that it is a love story. She's kind of boring, and there's not really, doesn't focus a lot on that. It focuses on the idea of where he wants to go, and his struggles within it, and the push and pull of everything. So, how much do I want to read of this one? I'm just going to read you the opening. So again, let me know what you think about it. Write some keywords, and then we're going to rate it. Only 3 people were left under the red and white awning of the grease joint. Grady, me, and the fry cook. Grady and I sat at a battered wooden table, each facing a burger on a dented tin plate. The cook was behind the counter, scraping his griddle with the edge of a spatula. He had turned off the fryer some time ago, but the odor of grease lingered. The rest of the midway, so recently writhing with people, was empty, but for a handful of employees and a good small group of men waiting to be led to the cooch tent. They glanced nervously from side to side, with hats pulled low and hands thrust deep in their pockets. They wouldn't be disappointed. Somewhere in the back, Barbara and her ample charms awaited. The other townsfolk, rubes, and as Uncle Al called them, had already made their way through the menagerie tent and into the big top, which pulsed with phonetic music. The band was whipping through its repertoire at the usual ear-splitting volume. I knew the routine by heart, and at this moment, the tail end of the grand spectacle was exiting, and Lottie was ascending her rigging in the center ring. I stared at Grady, trying to process what he was saying. He glanced around and leaned in closer. Besides, he said, locking eyes with me, it seems to me you've got a lot to lose right now. He raised his eyebrows for emphasis. My heart skipped a beat. Thunderous applause exploded from the big top, and the band slid seamlessly into the waltz. I turned instinctively toward the menagerie because this was the cue for the elephant act. Marlena was either preparing to mount or was already sitting on Rosie's head. I've got to go, I said. Sit, said Grady. Eat. If you're thinking about clearing out, it may be a while before you see food again. That moment, the music screeched to a halt. There was an ungodly collision of brass, reed, and percussion, trombones and piccolos, skidded. A tuba farted, and the hollow clang of a cymbal wavered out of the big top, over our heads, and into oblivion. Grady froze, crouched over his burger with his pinkies extended and lips spread wide. I looked from side to side. No one moved a muscle. All eyes were directed at the big top. A few wisps of hay swirled lazily across the hard dirt. "What is it? What's going on?" I said. "Shh!" Grady hissed. The band started up again, playing Stars and Stripes Forever. "Oh, Christ! Oh, shit!" Grady tossed his food onto the table and leapt up, knocking over the bench. What is it?" I yelled, because he was already running from me. "The disaster march!" he screamed over his shoulder. I jerked around the fry cook, who was ripping off his apron. "What the hell is he talking about?" "The disaster march," he said, wrestling the apron over his head. "It means something's gone bad, real bad." "Like what?" "Could be anything. Fire in the big top, stampede, whatever." "Aw, sweet Jesus, the poor rubes probably don't even know it yet." He ducked under the hinged door and took off. Chaos. Candy butchers vaulting over counters, workmen staggering out from under tent flaps. Anyone and everyone associated with the Benzini brothers' most spectacular show on earth barreled toward the big top. Diamond Joe passed me at the human equivalent of a full gallop. "Jacob, it's the menagerie!" he screamed. "The animals are loose! Go, go, go!" He didn't need to tell me twice. Marlena was in that tent. A rumble coursed through me as I approached, and it scared the hell out of me because it was on a register louder than the noise. The ground was vibrating. I staggered inside and met a wall of yak. A great expanse of curly-haired chest and churning hooves, of flared red nostrils and spinning eyes. It galloped past so close I leapt backward on tiptoe, flushed with the canvas to avoid being impaled by one of its crooked horns. A terrified hyena clung to its shoulders. The concession stand in the center of the tent had been flattened. In its place was a rolling mass of spots and stripes, of hunches, heels, tails, and claws, all of it roaring, screeching, bellowing, or whining. Okay, I'm going to stop there. Something bad happens.